Okay, then let's start to do some warm-up exercise before our meditation. So it is about adjusting our body posture. So there are two main points in adjusting a body posture. The first part is the base of the body that includes the triangular area between our hips and the knees. And we need to touch the ground as much as possible. So try to relax the joints between your legs and the body. And when you can relax the tendons in this area, then your legs will be touching the ground and giving the body a better support. If we can sit in a stable posture, in a grounded posture, and that will give us a sense of security, both physically feeling stable and mentally also feeling secured. And the second point is about the middle axis of the body. The middle axis is the vertical line joining between the top and the base. The top point is at the very top of the head, and the base point is in between the sex organ and the anal. So you can mentally draw a straight line between these 2 points. And now we try to stretch this middle line, and we breathe in and push your head upward, and at the same time sink your bottom down to the ground. So you are just like pulling a thread by 2 ends. Pull it in, make it straight. And after we stretch it to a straight line, and then you can swing your body a little bit, try to find out the proper position, the right place to relax. So adjust the middle line and relax with our breath. So gently place your weight of the head onto the base point. So direct your body weight through the middle axis down to the ground. So we can do this, breathe in and out several times. And then you can have the feeling of the middle axis, and you give you a better support to the body, just like a pillar or the mountain Sumeru, supporting of the whole world, whole universe. So we do this just like a warm-up exercise before we meditate. And all the other parts of the body, just leave it relaxed, leave it empty. And you can also feel the air channel of the body. It starts from our sinuses, through the throat, and directly down to our lower abdomen. When our middle axis is straight, then the air channel is also straight. Just keep it open and empty. And you can try to breathe with the throat. You find that when we breathe with the throat open, then the air will go deeper into the abdomen. So this is a warm-up exercise. just like doing yoga. And when you are doing this, the most important thing happens inside, and that is to switch our perspective from being a master of this body to a humble knower. Although we are controlling the body, put it into a right posture, but we are not doing this as a master of this body. When the body is in the position, then we just let go the body. We don't need to control it anymore. We are not the master, the owner of this house. You can see the body is sitting here, and it is breathing itself. So it is not you who is breathing; it is the body. This is to set up our right view, and we should keep this view, this perspective, throughout the whole meditation. Relax the ego inside. Relax the sense of house owner. And surrender the body to the nature. You can just let the body breathe naturally. You don't need to control the breathing. The body knows how to breathe in the best way. So now we just wait until the body posture becomes stable. It takes some time for the relaxation to happen. Just try to keep the whole body still. Let the body be grounded with the earth. We just relax and let the body wait. Go back to the earth. And when the body posture becomes stable, then we can try to relax more subtler parts of the body. We pay attention to the area of the brain. This is the center of our nervous system. Feel the whole brain in the background of breathing. We don't need to hold on to the breathing. Just leave it as a background. You will not disappear. Just tell yourself, the breathing is the background of the whole universe. And whatever you are doing in the meditation, you are doing inside the breathing. It is the breathing is the rhythm of the present moment. It is just a frame of reference for the mind to stay present. And the more important point is to cultivate the mind, not the breathing. The breathing serves as a tool for the mind to be present. So under such big background of breathing, we feel the brain and try to relax the brain. You can imagine that every breath you take, just like a stream of light, penetrate into the brain. And at the same time, you relax the brain so that the light can penetrate deeper. The more you relax, and the deeper the light can penetrate into. The light of the breathing is cooling, refreshing, and recharging. It brings peace and energy to your brain. But remember, you are just a knower to this. What we need to do is just to know, and also we grant a positive meaning to the phenomenon of breathing. Visualization is the granting of positive meaning to the breathing. Just let the body breathe itself. When the body is tired, when the brain is in lack of oxygen, then it will take a longer breath naturally. Just let it happen. And let the body adjust itself. And the one who is breathing is the body. And the mind is the one is knowing. With every breath, you relax the brain a little bit deeper. And when the brain becomes more relaxed, the light of the breathing can penetrate into every corner of the brain, every nerve. And let the brain take a full rest in this stream of light. Usually our brain is tired and stressed after the whole day work. Usually we are using the brain too much. If there's any release of such stress, this is good. Just let it come out. Let it surface and recharge in the stream of light. Just like a thirsty person drinking water in this stream. You can feel your brain is smiling. Just let the stream of light flow in and out. Let the brain take a complete sleep in the breathing. If there's any thoughts or feeling of sleepiness, just know that these are the conditions of the brain. They are not you. Don't be deluded by these feelings. We just note it and let it go. So now we leave the brain, continue to rest in the breathing. And now we pay attention another part of the body that is at the center of our chest. Just leave the brain aside and take a rest itself, and pay attention to the middle of the chest, the area of heart chakra. Feel this area. Feel, is there any stress or feeling of heaviness, dullness in this area? And with the breathing, just let the light penetrate into this area in the same way as we did to the brain. Now relax and open your heart and let the breath penetrate into it. The light of breathing is gentle and soft. This is the blessing from the nature. Just open your heart and let the nature adjust the heart. We are not the one to control anything. We are not the one to order our mind to be peaceful. But just open the door and let the nature come in. The nature will work in you. And what we need to do is just to ground the breathing with a positive meaning. If we believe our breathing can heal ourselves, then it can be. If we think that it is the light, it is the positive energy, then actually it is. And the mind makes everything. Just open the heart, open it completely, like a lotus under the sun. And just leave it open. Let the sun shine, let the light heal the heart. And the mind just say no to this. And just know whatever happens with gratitude and appreciation. In the stream of light, you can feel there's a feeling of harmony and peace gradually arises at the very center of the chest. At the beginning, it is small, tiny, but it is so warm, harmonious, and it gradually grows in the breathing. Just know this happen with appreciation. You can completely trust the breathing. Just let the nature cure you, heal you. And the mind is just a knower to this. The mind doesn't need to take part into this healing. It is the work of the nature. The mind just know the present breathing and feel the passing of time. If the mind knows every present moment, then it has such a sense of time passing. If it is not at present, then the time stops. Let the feeling of peace and harmony expand and penetrate into every part of your body. And now the whole body is taking a bath in the light. Just let the breathing take care of your body. Let the nature take care of your body. You just need to know. Feel every moment passing away with content. Just simply enjoy your present being. And now the breathing becomes a wave, becomes a rhythm. This is the rhythm of the nature. And by noticing such rhythm, we can sense the present moment passing away. And we have the sense of time. If we are not living at the present moment, we have no time. We are not in the reality. The reality is ever changing. All our sensory experiences are ever changing. They happen in the eyes, in the ears, in the brain, everywhere. If there's no change, no such changing at all, we don't have the sense of time. Even in the deepest jhana, the brain wave is still working, but maybe working in a much slower rate. And that's why in the jhanas we feel the time passing away slow, but actually many hours pass by. But in our feeling, there's just maybe several minutes. This is because the rate of changing is slower in the jhana. And that's why the time is slower. We perceive the time through the changing, through impermanence. So when we can still feel the passing of time, that means we are present and we are facing directly to the phenomenon of impermanence. Everything is passing away every moment. The whole world in the last moment is forever gone. Your body, your mind, 5 khandhas are passing away every second, every moment. And this person that you are knowing, these 5 khandhas at the present moment, will cease away immediately. So nothing can stay forever. Nothing can be constant. And for everything, once you know, they are in the past already. And nothing you can attach, nothing you can own, including your mind. This knower does not belong to you. Once you identify that this knower is me, then the object that you identified with is already in the memory. It becomes an image because it is in the past already. When we know everything that is happening at this very present moment, we find that nothing we can hold on to. Nothing can be regarded as self. Even this knower, it is just a phenomenon. And there's a knowing, but this knowing is not belong to you. It is rising and ceasing away. It is passing away every moment. So just directly know this phenomena. Just let the mind face to this reality. We don't need to speak to the mind. See, this is impermanence. We don't need to do this. We just bring it to the reality. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is constant. And whatever you attach simply lead to suffering, because everything will be changing. And the only way out from this suffering is to let go. And let go the want to create an ego. We always want to hold on to something. Uh, this is me, this is mine. But when we know that everything is actually impermanent, suffering, and non-self, then anything that we cling will give us suffering in the result. And only when we can let go, when we give up such want to create an ego, then the mind is peaceful. Just simply feel the passing of time. Feel the passing of time with content. Discovering the reality as impermanent, suffering, and non-self. This itself is not a suffering. This is the way leading to end the suffering. Because only when the mind can learn from the truth, then it can let go. This is the only way to give the mind the liberation. And there is the breathing body, and there is a knowing mind, but they are not you. And the time is passing away second by second, moment by moment. But why can't we be content to this? This is the reality. When the mind gives up creating the ego, when the mind is not bound by the wants, it is free. It is content in itself. Even when the mind is not peaceful, we should appreciate that we can still know. time's up for today. The time is passing away in the same way. It's not related to whether your eyes are closed or not. Can you feel this? Number 9.
I am number 9 today, Ajahn.
Yes.
I'm on different numbers, so I'm sometimes confused. You can call me by my name if you want to.
Okay. Never mind. How's the meditation today?
I feel good after this meditation. Because I have to do meditation this afternoon as well. And then I feel the PowerPoint get ready for the next week's webinar. I feel better too. I feel a stone of my heart has been lifted. A burden on my shoulder has been lifted as well.
Just leave it, let it relax. We are not to do anything to our mind. We just withdraw ourselves from the role of a master. We just let go the role of master and just leave it natural. We are not to do anything, but we just to know. Just know the time passing with content. The last 2 words are very important. With content, this is the attitude. The time passing is the nature, but with content is our attitude. We can know it with a sorrow mind or with a happy mind, right? With the same reality, people may have different attitudes towards it, and that's why some people suffer. Some people are happy with that. It is the mind makes everything. If we simply content with the present moment, we are already happy. We don't need anything to let the mind happy, right? Sensual objects cannot satisfy the mind in a real sense, and that's why. And this is the dukkha, the fact of unsatisfactoriness. Everything in the world, all the sankharas, are unsatisfactory. Cannot actually satisfy the mind. Just give the sense a feeling, and we interpret such feeling as so-called happiness. But the mind is not feeling happy. Only when the mind can give up the wants, then it is content. It is happy. This is the true happiness. It happens in the mind, not in the senses. So when we practice meditation, I try to identify the mind and the feeling. Feeling are always about our senses, 6 kinds of senses, sense organs, right? It happens in the sense organs, but the mind is another thing. The mind is the knower, and the mind is suffered because of greed, aversion, and delusion only. And when there's the absence of greed, aversion, and delusion, the mind is happy. This is the real happiness. Try to feel this.
Right. Okay, see you next week, Ajahn.
Okay.
I'm going to sleep now.
Okay. And number 1.
Very much that, Jen.
Yeah.
The meditation was very good because I meditated just before this session as well for about 45 minutes. During that session, I was feeling a bit sleepy, but this session I was just a little bit sleepy towards the end. But when you was talking about the breath and it's just the background to the universe, then that made me think that my thoughts, what I'm thinking, like my distractions, like if I'm planning something, it's just all irrelevant because ultimately, like where I'm from before this life and after this one, like I'm part of the universe. So that helped me to think, not to have my thoughts, not to give attention to my thoughts.
Mm.
And I like when you said about like just opening the heart chakra, and then I felt compassion and love, like because when I'm just thinking about talking about the brain, I'm thinking that like the universe is empty, but then when I'm thinking feeling with my heart, like love, compassion, then it feels like that's the energy that connects all of us together, kind of thing. And that made me feel like happy, because when I was aware of the breath, like the breath is suffering, dukkha, and then when I focus on the heart, then that's like the opposite to the dukkha. And yeah, it felt really very peaceful, and there weren't too many thoughts, and yeah, it was a very nice feeling. And but then towards the end, I started to feel a little bit sleepy, but then I kind of came out of it. But it was a nice guidance and a nice feeling. So it was a good session. So thank you, Master Ajahn.
And even the feeling of loving kindness in the heart chakra, it's just a feeling. It is not the happiness of the mind. It is just an object. So everything, all the sankharas is suffering. This is truth, including the feeling of loving kindness. It is still a sankhara. So it is still impermanent. It is still something unsatisfactory. But these are things that we can learn from. Only the let go is the way out. Not even the loving kindness. Loving kindness is still the emotion belong to the Brahmas, right? They're still in the samsara. Only the let go of ego and let go of self is the way out. Only when there's no container for the sufferings, then the sufferings cannot exist. Even the Brahma is still a container. Right? But we need the feeling of loving kindness as kind of to balance our heart. So the mind is absent from the 5 hindrances. When the brain is relaxed, when the brain is balanced, then agitation and sleepiness is swept away. And when the heart is balanced, then aversion and craving is not there. Then when our right view, that seeing everything as a knower and not as a master, and this is a right view, then we will be free from the doubt. So in this way, the mind can be free from the 5 hindrances. And when the mind is free from the 5 hindrances, then the next step is to separate the knower from the known, from the objects. This is to wake the mind up, and then we can see things as they are, see things as impermanent suffering and non-self, with a stable mind, neutral mind, or a content mind. So this is the steps we need to go through in the meditation. Let the mind be peaceful is the first step. After peaceful, and is awakening of the mind, and then see things as they are, and learn how to let go the ego from such observation. And it is a technique we need to practice to relax the brain and relax the heart. And when we become more familiar to this, then it will become easier and easier. This is the practical skills that we can learn from the meditation. But these are just a foundation of meditation. And what we the real cultivation in Buddhism is the later part. It's about wisdom. It's about understanding. Even when the mind is peaceful, don't be attached to the peacefulness. This is not our goal of meditation. Okay, take it. Try to practice it.
Yeah, I will. I'll meditate again some more this afternoon, and then I will remember what you said. So thank you.
Sometimes the mind also need to, don't be too harsh to it. If we push it too harsh, then it will rebound. The easiest way to bring a meditation into our daily life is simply to feel the time passing with content. It's not necessarily done in the cross-legged posture. Whatever you are doing, just bring the mind to this state. Just do things with content. Feel the time passing. This will be more natural. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Luana? Oh, setting.
Thank you for the practice. I felt quite good today.
Yeah.
And I especially like the part with the light in the heart chakra.
This is quite common for the Westerners. Yeah. And what do you feel?
I have a question. What does jhana mean?
Jhana. Jhana means it's kind of meditative absorption. It's kind of stable, the stability of mind. When the mind is stable in mindfulness, it is build up such unshakability. Then in this state, when the mind has certain qualities, they are very clearly defined in the test. Like you should have the 5 factors of jhanas, like the vitakka, vichara, and piti, sukha, upekkha. These are the 5 factors. But we don't need to go too detailed in this part. We simply understand it is kind of a stable form of mind. And sometimes it happens naturally. We don't even know that we are in the jhana, but it doesn't matter. The truth is the truth, even we don't know its name. When the mind is, the knowing is stable, then we can use this mind to observe things as they are. This is the meaning of jhana or samadhi. When we attain such kind of mental state, we should step forward. We are not just be stuck in this feeling, the peaceful feeling, but use it as a tool for the mind to learn from the suffering. This is more important. It is the jhana is just a place to rest. When the mind is temporarily free from the greed, aversion, and delusion, is temporarily peaceful and stable, and it gains energy and become more neutral to everything. Then this gives us the conditions to observe things as they are. And can you follow the instructions to the very end?
Yes, I think so, or I try at least to follow it.
Yeah, that's good. So it's not that difficult actually, right? And in a daily life, you can simply use the way feeling the time passing. Everyone can do this, even those who have never meditated, because everyone did this when we are waiting for something. But usually we are not content with simply waiting. We will always try to find something to distract ourselves. But now we are trying to enjoy such simply waiting. Just feel the time passing, and the mind takes a leisure in such waiting and non-doing state. And this is meditation already, right? You can do it. Try now. When we are listening, we can meditate. because the voice happens in time. We can simply feel the time passing. That means the mind is present. It's continuously present. Right? When we are not present, then the time stops. Usually we are living in a broken time, broken timeline. But if we are living at the present moment, then our life is a full continuing timeline. Okay?
Thank you.
Number 11.
Instructions were very
Sorry, can you be louder? Yeah. I can't hear quite well. A little bit louder.
Must be something with the
okay.
The instructions were very cooling for the mind. And the thing that it's very, I find it is very it is very helpful to have this kind of moments, because usually when just meditating, it's not so often it happens, but it is happening for a shorter period of time that the mind can relax and the mind is open, is having this is lighter from the hindrances, I think, or anyway, is not feeling suffering.
Yeah, this is what I call the leisure time for the mind. When the mind actually have a leisure, it doesn't need to do anything now. So it takes a complete sleep, a complete rest, not sleep. It is awake but taking a rest. Actually, the mind usually is not in rest. It's always doing something, right? But when we only when we can actually take a rest, the mind stop doing, then we can feel the peacefulness from inside. And when such peacefulness happens, the mind is content, because the wants are absent, right? So the mind is not suffered. But when the mind is always driven by the wants to look for this and that from the eyes and ears and from the thoughts, it is not peaceful. So we take this as kind of temporary rest for the mind to recharge the energy. But finally, we need to face to the daily life, to the life of six sense organs are firing, always in fire, and feel the suffering and learn from the suffering. It is not necessary for us to suffer from the suffering. The suffering is a truth, is the reality, but we are not necessary to feel suffered. We can learn from it. We can be content with it. When we can let go the ego, we have nothing to lose. We can learn from the reality. What we call the practice is a process to let go the ego. We are not against anything. When we can be clear to this faith, then the mind gains peacefulness. So this is a lifelong practice. When the time still continues, and then we need to practice. Just simply feel the time passing with content, with a learning mind. Okay, keep the practice all the time, not just in the meditation session. Although it'll be easier to do in the meditation session, especially the group meditation. But we don't rely on this. Don't be too attached to this, because these are just giving you a better condition. But finally, we need to walk ourselves, walk alone. No one can help you in the real sense. Everyone need to walk alone. Okay. 15.
Good morning, Ajahn.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm fine. The meditation was very pleasant. Yeah, I just noticed that now and then in the meditation, also today, it's like the mind can be very relaxed, but still it does some strain in the body. It's like as if the body wants to go leaning in front, so there is a strain in the back. So it can feel very relaxed, but still it's like doing something. Like so when noticing that, it's possible to relax, and then it comes back. So it's like it's like as if the mind it's still doing something in the back. So
we need to allow this happen. We are not to prohibit the body, this person to do anything. This is not the meaning of non-doing. Non-doing is to allow, is to accept. And when we don't participate into this doing process, then such doing process will gradually settle down. This is the way leading to non-doing, not just to stop doing. Stop doing is still a kind of doing. We do something to stop it from doing. But non-doing is to allow, is to accept and to embrace. So whatever happens, when the body want to adjust the posture of, or the mind want to have some response to something, just let it happen. But the important point is that we don't join the process. We don't get involved in the process. And then this is non-doing. Even when the mind is not peaceful, when there are so many thoughts, then we can still be non-doing. Non-doing is in the mind level, not in the brain, not in the feeling. There's still a lot of feelings of vibrations, physically or mentally. But if we can simply know and let go, this is non-doing. It is an attitude, non-reacting, you can say. And actually this is the mind that we need to prepare before we can see the reality as it is. Because the reality is changing. It's always impermanent. Even in the meditation, we cannot expect the mind can be peaceful throughout the time. We need to accept when it is sometimes more peaceful, sometimes not that peaceful, or sometimes the sensations in the body. These are all the activities of this person, of these 5 khandhas. About the observer is not doing, simply knows from the perspective of impermanent suffering and non-self. And you don't need to tell the mind how to understand, but just bring it to this situation. Just let it learn itself. Just give it an perspective and let it learn itself. And wait until the time passing, until the meditation session ends. And how is your daily life? Are you happy?
In daily life, I think there is more attention or awareness of irritation when it comes. And, it's more. I notice the wish to let go of this irritation or this anger when it comes. So this is something that is just more. That's just more in awareness of that. When you ask if feeling more happy, I think it's connected, because if you let go of this irritation, there is automatically happiness.
So as I said, non-doing is to allow it happen, and to allow it to come and to go. Then we just feel the suffering. We don't need to avoid the suffering. Just feel, and then the mind will grow in the suffering. To feel with open mind. It's not something to be feared. Actually, the external world or the events cannot hurt our mind, but only our own greed, aversion, and delusion hurt the mind. When we deny a part of us, deny our certain kind of behavior or speech or thoughts, then this is a hurt to ourselves, to our mind. When we simply accept whatever it is, and this is a process of learning, the mind will never be hurt by the things happen, but only the greed, aversion, and delusion. This is very important. Whatever happened, once we know it is already in the past, so just let them go. Just forget it. It is no longer present. And everyone is living the life in the same way. We are always have ups and downs. I think when things happen, we face it with the right attitude. We are not to expect to. It is impossible to control our mind to be always in the wholesome state. But only our greed, aversion, and delusion, only our reactions can hurt the mind itself. So the attitude is very important. When we have the right attitude, that means we have the right view, right understanding, then it is a process of learning. It is a process of spiritual growth. Don't waste the suffering. It is precious experience. Okay.
Thank you.
And 16.
Hi, Ajahn. Today was okay. A little bit distracted, but it was good. Thank you.
That's all. Okay. Nothing special, right? So keep your practice.
Okay, thank you.
23. Glad it's you. And you need to unmute.
Yeah, unmute. There you go. I have trouble with the technicalities. I've been tried to log in for 25 minutes.
And how is it?
Right. It's a good. I do enjoy these sessions. There's no doubt about it. That's why I'm doing. I do 3 on the week with you. I'm getting to a complete mindfulness state, and I've got to try and sort of. I have to start analysing within my own body that I've got to get that. I'm just sort of having a hard time with that next level. So I'm just
your voice is kind of broken one.
My voice is kind of broken.
Yeah. Some words are missing, maybe about the signal or the mic.
It should be all right. Move a bit closer. Is that easier?
Yeah.
So I'm just, my meditation's just not. It hasn't moved much in a couple of weeks, and I would have thought with all this practice, sort of moving along a little bit far. So it's sort of plateaued. All right. Let's say each session is different. You can't.
Yeah, of course.
Never the same.
So now, can you relax the mind and the heart quite easily than before?
Oh, very quickly. Even though I was late, I can now get to deep meditation in less than 5 minutes. Maybe.
Oh, that's good.
So I can just get right into it.
Yeah.
Get to a weightlessness and breath.
Because relaxing the brain and the heart is directly working to against the 5 hindrances. And my approach to meditation is not to achieve the peacefulness through concentration, but through relaxation. Relaxation, the enemies of meditation, that is the 5 hindrances. So by doing in this way, the mind is not stressed because we are not ordering the mind to do something, to concentrate, but we just to let go, to dismiss the enemies of our peacefulness. And this is more effective because these enemies, these 5 hindrances, are actually just imbalanced states of this person, of the body, you can say, the brain and the heart. And when it is balanced, then there's no hindrances. Then the mind is naturally united, and this makes meditation happier and more enjoyable. and when we do this, then we feel that it is becomes happier and happier. It is something worthy to enjoy. And we can see the improvement quite obviously. But don't be deluded by the feeling of peacefulness. This is not the goal. This is just the preparatory state. After the mind is peaceful, we have still a long way to go. And the wisdom is our goal. Cultivate the mind and let the mind learn to let go the ego. And this will finally brings the change to our faith, the deepest faith of life. Because ego is our faith. But we are now to shake this fundamental faith. And if we can do this, then the whole life changes. This is more worthy to cultivate.
The Westerners have a hard time letting go of the ego.
Yeah.
I remember that it was a conversation we had face to face a long time.
Yeah.
Westerners always have a hard time.
So try to bring this observation into the daily life, in our behavior, speech, and thoughts, not just in meditation. And to do things with the intention to give rather than to gain. This is also a very helpful practice to give up the ego. And we have a lot of chance of practice in this way in the whole life, because we need to live all the time. And when we talk with other people, when we communicate with other people, there's a lot of chance to cultivate such a switch of intention, a switch of perspective. And you find it makes a lot of changes in your life. Okay?
Okay. It's good to talk to you.
Okay, and
jokes for you today.
Yeah. 22.
Good afternoon, Ajahn. Good afternoon, everybody. My meditation session today is okay. Last week is for the whole. I think last week I was pretty. I think I think I experienced a very painful time. But surprisingly, I see that I can actually coexist with the suffering. I mean, mental pain, and I managed to let go much more easier than before. And I realized that even when I was having that kind of a very negative feeling, and when I checked my heart chakra, is two different separate entities altogether. When I'm having the pain, when I'm having mental pain or negativity, but also at the same time, I go back and check on my heart chakra, and I realize that they are two different entities altogether. And I have never had this kind of perception before. And I see that after I relieve the mental pain, it's just dissolved. And so now I feel that I'm more at ease, and I can actually coexist with the suffering. Before that, I think every time when I have those challenges or any things that is happening outside, and I have dissatisfaction in my mind, I sort of like struggle with it. But now I think the time of struggling is getting shorter and shorter, and I think I can coexist with the pain. And even just now, when I was doing my meditation, I have a lot of thoughts, and sometimes I have thoughts, and then sometimes I'm quite peaceful. And I accept that this is actually the nature of the mind, and I just watch it, because sometimes I'm not mindful, and I follow the thoughts. I follow, it's just like a drama. But after that, I quickly step back, and then I just observe the stream of the thoughts. And then I observe that it's anatta. So for the whole session, although that, sometimes I'm peaceful and sometimes there are a lot of thoughts, I just, most of the time I've been an observer, and I feel quite okay with that. That's how is my meditation update for today.
If we want to deal with the agitation, the endless thought, we can relax the brain until we have the sense of stability built up in the brain. The stability means balance. When something is balanced, then it can stand very stably, right? So it's the same when our nervous system or emotional system is balanced, then we have the sense of stability. That means that it is more stable, it's more under control. So this is the way of samatha. This is a way of attaining the peacefulness, so as to make it not to become an obstacle for our later paths. But if the wisdom and mindfulness is strong enough, we don't need to rely on this. We can directly go to the observation because the stability is in the level of mind, the level of observer. Then we don't need the body, the brain, or the emotion to be stable. We simply observe whatever it is, and this is also workable. It also work. So it depends on the level of wisdom. You can directly go into the observation. Just know whatever it is. The stability is in the level of the mind, the knower. But the feelings and still can be not stable. Yeah.
All right. I remember last week when I was doing my progress report, and I was telling Ajahn that I was pretty upset with myself because I have been practicing quite some time, and I personally believe that my mind is quite still. But with that kind of concentration, I feel the pain is even greater or even sharper. And Ajahn did remind me that, because my level of concentration and the mindfulness and the wisdom is not in balance. So after you have reminded me on that session, and then for the whole week, I was trying to observe that particular aspect. And I think when I dive deeper in that particular aspect, that really helps me. So even though now I have thoughts, it's not wandering thoughts. It's just like the nature how the mind works. I just become a more natural observer, and I'm thankful to Ajahn for reminding me on that.
Yeah, it's very important. The tool that give us understanding to the reality is the satipanya. That means mindfulness and wisdom. And samadhi just assistance to our mindfulness. It gives us a sharper state of mindfulness. But the one who is dealing with our defilement is satipanya, not the samadhi. Samadhi is a secondary practice, but mindfulness and wisdom is the most important. If our wisdom is strong enough, then we can be stable even in a chaotic mind. Even when there are crazy thoughts and emotions, we can simply stay as a knower. Because wisdom can also give the mind neutrality. Give the mind equanimity. Equanimity can come from samadhi, and also can come from wisdom. But the later is more reliable, because it doesn't need to rely on meditation or peacefulness of mind. It is always there. When the mind understands enough, then it gradually builds up such equanimity as a result of wisdom. This is more transferable. Okay, just keep on your practice. Congratulations. And number 8.
Thank you, Ajahn. So today, overall, I think it went well. I wasn't struggling with drowsiness like before. Even though in the beginning, I think there was a moment when I felt like, the mind just gets heavier. And that's usually when I realize, like 5 seconds later, that I've dozed off. But this time I see it coming, but I don't know what happened. Like next moment, the mind just wakes up. It's just like, it's just not drowsy anymore.
Yeah.
That the mind is just knowing with clarity.
It happens. Sometimes happens naturally, and happens automatically, unexpectedly. And then.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and then I was just able to just listen into the instructions, the Dharma talk, and then just knowing the breath in the background is it was pretty steady and stable.
Yeah.
Until later on, I think like my neighbors start to prepping for the Chinese New Year, and they are like moving things mindfully and making a lot of noise, and I got upset because yeah.
You should be upset for him.
And
because they don't know practice, and we still can have the choice to choose a mind to have peacefulness, but they don't. So we feel upset for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I try to contemplate, and then I realized like I was upset because I'm trying to listen, because I'm trying to listen to you, right? And then I'm trying to keep up with the flow, but then that just interrupts it. So it's kind of like just falls out of my expectation. But then if I pay attention, like you said, like when you notice time passing, right? I mean, like this noises never stops because there's noises like on the streets, the wind, and like the windows when the wind blows. But usually the mind just kind of blocks it out, right? But then when I have a kind of like a goal, when I have an ego, then some noises become how to say
that's what I said.
So
actually the external conditions, external things can never hurt the mind directly, but only the interpretations of the mind itself in the way of greed, aversion, and delusion hurt the mind. If we always give a positive meaning to whatever we are in contact with, then the mind is happy, right? But when we interpret things in such negative way, then the mind is hurt by itself. No one can hurt the mind, only the mind itself. So that's why actually the noise are everywhere all the time. But why can't we be neutral to that? Because the mind is neutral. But for the mind is picky to grant some positive or negative things to certain things, and that's why it is hurt, but not by the external things.
Yeah, exactly. Like so I thought I was doing well, and then I realized I have much more work to do. So
okay, that's good. The feeling the time passing is
thank you.
Is the easiest way to do the meditation. And if you can do this, then you may try to add the who is knowing into the scenario. The time is passing. There's a knower knowing everything, and this is the reality. Just bring the mind back to the reality and let it learn itself.
Actually, I do try to use the who is knowing practice in my daily life. Like I try to apply it usually when the mind is about to go into it's kind of like agitation state, like the emotion is triggering brain to have like thoughts, and then thoughts is triggering more emotion. So when that happens, I try to ask myself that question, and I found it. Yeah, it's pretty useful in terms of bringing the mind to a more neutral state. So yeah, that's what I find so far.
Yeah. If we can separate the mind from the objects, especially from the feelings, then we can easily identify that the sensual sensual enjoyments cannot actually satisfy the mind. And this is the true meaning of dukkha. Things are actually not satisfying the mind. And that's why we can never be peaceful from enjoying from the senses. When once it is fulfilled, and it need to create new wants immediately. Otherwise, it cannot have the source of happiness. So this is the mechanism that our ordinary happiness work. But it is not actually fulfilling the mind itself. Only when the mind is absent from the wants, then it is truly content. Try to feel the difference between the happiness of the mind and happiness of the senses. And when we can separate the mind from the sensual objects, then we know what is true happiness. So you can choose whichever way to do the understanding to impermanent suffering and non-self. When we can understand any one of these, then it automatically understands the other two. And when the mind understands this truth, then it will let go more and more. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Ajahn.
It seems that you have some delay in the internet.
Oh.
And then who else? Anyone who didn't join yesterday's session? Yeah, number 7.
Hey, good morning, Ajahn. Maybe I feel pretty tired recently. So during the sitting just now, my mind goes away for most of the time, and even to a point that I realized that the heart beats so hard and fast suddenly. Then the minds come back. Simply because maybe due to the tiredness I realized that the tiredness is due to the stress recently at work. Because I have changed the job position, so I need to brush up the job duties a little bit. And also I find that the mind is often in the future, it worries a lot, has lots of worries. Because right now I need to because for those job duties, those area of job duties, I haven't worked on it for more than 10 years already. But now I need to pick it up again, and also need to be the leader of some junior staff. So that's why I got stressed. And so because of the mind often because of all these stress that stress me out. That's why I feel tired. So that's why also
the mind. I think the mind is stressed because of delusion. When we are busy, it's easy for us to be absent from mindfulness. We are not awake. If we can do things with the awakened mind, then it is not stressful. The mind is not stressed, but the brain may be stressed, the body may be tired, but the mind is still energetic. So as I conclude, only the greed, aversion, and delusion can hurt the mind. Not the work, not the movement of the body, not the thinking process, only the greed, aversion, and delusion. So it is very important. Just bring that to our fundamental point of view. Just notice whether you're giving a positive or negative interpretation to what you are doing or what you are feeling, sensing. And this is the source of suffering. Greed, aversion, and delusion is our default mode of interpretation. Usually, if we are not mindful, we will normally interpret the world in this way. So that's why the mind is stressed, the mind is exhausted. So try to notice this. We cannot avoid the work, and we should not deny the duty, because this is what we need to do in our life. But as a practitioner, we need to identify the true source of suffering. It is not in the work. It is our own greed, aversion, and delusion.
That's what I know. Actually, I realize that. Especially when some ad hoc incidents come up. Because in the past I will rush to the scene immediately. But like yesterday, there are also lots of incidents comes up in a very short period. Of course, I'm not the only one to handle that, but there is a moment that the mind comes back, and then I told myself that as long as that is not life-threatening, then I can calm down and go. That means I don't need to rush. I don't need to rush, but just go there and just trying to calm myself down, actually, and go there.
Just do
as long
what
as
you.
That is reasonable, and no need to rush myself.
Just do what you can do and wait for the time to pass. The time is passing in a steady way. If we feel the time passing, and then the mind will be more neutral. So do everything in the time. Actually, it is the body and the brain doing the work. The mind doesn't need to do. So if the mind can still stay with the reality, the impermanence, when the time passes, then everything will change. So actually, I think to practice in our daily life is nothing different from practicing in our meditation. Life itself is a long meditation, and the problems we meet in our daily life is nothing different from the 5 hindrances in the meditation. And the way to deal with these hindrances can also be applied in our daily life. We are not to control, but we are to wake up. Wake up from the 5 hindrances. So we can also wake up from the daily life. It is the body and the brain working, not the mind. So understand this, the mind gains more leisure time to wake up, to be recharged, take a rest away from the greed, aversion, and delusion. And when we become more skillful on this, then the rest time become longer and more frequent. Wisdom is the ultimate point that we are practicing. We cannot bring the peacefulness of meditation into our daily life, but we can bring the wisdom. Okay. So as I said, our goal of practice is not peacefulness. So don't be stuck by the peacefulness from meditation. it happens only in the meditation. But once we come back to our daily life, what can we do? The meditation is useless. But the attitude we practice in the meditation, or the right understanding that we learned from the meditation, this can be extended into our daily life. This is more important, and it is this part makes our life happier, not the peacefulness of jhana. It is the wisdom. So always keep in a learning mode. We are here to learn. We are born in this life or this dream to learn, not to gain anything. What can we gain from the dream? Right? You need to give up everything before you die. But we can learn from all the experience. Even if it is a dream, we can still learn the experience from the experience. The experience is real, right? And the spiritual growth is real. So keep this in mind. This will make our mind clearer. Okay, any more questions? Yeah. Unmute.
I got a different question, just out of curiosity. And that is, I was just wondering, have any monks ever had a heart monitor put on them while they're meditating to see how much their heartbeat drops while they meditate? They're in deep meditation.
Sorry, I can't understand. Can you repeat?
Have any monks ever had a heart monitor put on them so they can monitor their heartbeat change when they're in deep meditation for half an hour or more and see how much they bring their heartbeat down?
Basila, can you help? I'm sorry.
佢係講咧，佢係講我講廣東話，佢係講咧，其實佢問呢個問題嘅原因係因為佢本身好奇怪，每一次佢 meditate 咗之後咧，坐禪咗之後，佢個心跳佢 heartbeat 咧就會 drop 到好犀利，好似好慢咁樣，所以佢就喺度諗緊呢個 heartbeat 同埋嗰個入嗰個 meditation 比較 calm 嘅嗰個 state 係咪有關係嘅？所以佢就問呢個問題講住咩？嗰啲係咪有嗰啲 measurement 又或者嗰啲 machine 咧係可以 measure 到？如果當佢哋喺 meditation 嘅時候咧，佢哋 heartbeat 就會 drop 得好犀利。呢個係佢後邊嘅後邊嘅 thought 啦。
Okay, understand. Yeah, I think there have been some measurement with machine measuring some practitioners in deep absorption, and there's actually a change in their physical conditions, including the brain wave. When the brain wave is very slow, then the whole body, the whole functioning of the body is lowered. Heart rate is just one of the manifestations, and also including every part of the body, many things, many aspects. And it is in the record that for someone who are in the deep jhana, then you can even have some superordinary phenomena, just like when they are sitting in a still posture, but people cannot change its posture. It is completely still, completely fixed. And in some deep meditations, people think that this person already died because no breathing, no heart rate, and they put in they want to burn the body. They think this person already dead, and finally they cannot burn it. And after several days, that person can still walking around everywhere, and nothing happened because they was in the they were in the deep meditation, deep jhana, and this is there are some records in in the sutras.
Priscilla told me a story of an Indian boy who did it for about something like 3 or 6 months.
Yeah.
Meditated non-stop.
7 days. 7 days.
7 days.
More than 7 days. Yeah, and also he can also have some burning phenomena, right? His robe is burnt by fire, but his body is well. This maybe is kind of a kasina practice, the fire kasina, Teisho kasina, and when the mind is completely concentrated, and whatever it thinks or it imagines can become the truth. It becomes real.
Because when you get into deep meditation, your body temperature drops, and it's quite hot here, so you don't notice it.
If you just determine your body to be hot, then it can be. If you simply imagine that you are burning, then it can actually be burning. Yeah. This is kind of what they call the kasina. There's some kind of supernatural power, and people have different explanations to this. Maybe when the mind is completely mastered, then we can see through the fake nature of the reality. It's just like we are living in a dream or a kind of virtual reality game. But with the concentrated mind, we can find the bug. We can ignore the rules of the game. Do you believe this?
Ajahn, I have another question.
Yeah.
To ignore the rules of game, is that against the nature of anicca, dukkha, anatta?
They ignore the rules of games, just like gravity or the conditions of fire burning. I mean this. But impermanent suffering and non-self is not something. It's impossible to be ignored, right?
That isn't that because I heard from somewhere in a Dharma talk that when people can play with this kind of elements, with the water or fire, the elements, the different elements, if they are not careful, then the mind will become deluded. Then they will be drifted further away from realizing the nature of anicca, dukkha, and anatta.
Yeah, and actually this happens in all kinds of the pure samatha practice. If samatha practice has no wisdom element, then it is easy for us to be deluded in the samadhi. If we practice only with concentration, with looking for the one-pointedness of the samadhi, it can be delusive. Because that's why we, as I said, it is very important to change our perspective from the very beginning of the meditation, and keep such kind of non-self perspective throughout the whole meditation. Otherwise, the samadhi can be delusive. We can get lost, especially when the mind is highly concentrated, and many strange things will happen. And some extraordinary experience can happen, and people will enjoy this if they are deluded. And they think this is very cool. This is very great, and they become Superman.
I found you can play around in medical clinics now. Is that they're always checking your heartbeat? It's the same thing the doctor. And I always ask them, "Do you mind checking it again?" And
Greg, you have to come nearer to the screen because your voice is not clear.
Okay. Sometimes you can play around with doctors, right? Because I like teasing people. Like teasing. Anyway, so they always at any medication session, they always want to check your heartbeat. So then you say, "Okay, do you mind checking it again?" And just in that time frame of them checking and doing the recheck, I can get in like 3 or 4 minutes meditation. Maybe while they think, why are you going to do it again?
Yeah.
So I'd like to check it again. I can drop my heartbeat now between 5 and 10% in about 4 minutes.
Yeah, some monks can do that. And I also know them. They do it in front of me, and the drop of the heart rate is quite dramatic. They can control it to a very obvious level, and it happens very quickly. And they don't need to close their eyes and keep in a meditation posture. They just simply do it with mind.
Yeah.
If you can master meditation to this level, then you can play a game with the doctor.
Yeah, but I can't master that. But I'm only moving my heartbeat like 5%. I'm not moving it like that. They halving their heartbeat, are they? Are these guys? They're halving their heartbeat, as in,
yeah. The heart rate is quite an obvious change. The easiest way to change.
Ajahn, what Greg was trying to ask is that he managed 5 to 10% decrease, but those monks that can master the spheres, can they drop their heartbeat to half? This is what he meant.
Yeah, even in some deep meditation, they can even the heartbeat stop. Heartbeats can stop.
See, a whale has a heartbeat of 1 or 2 beats per minute.
Maybe you can try. If you can do it, you can tell me.
But the doctors always say to you, if you can drop your heartbeat that low, you're dead.
And you can say your machine is out of order.
All right, enough of the science.
Yeah.
Other people got more relevant questions.
19 has raised the hand. Okay?
No, actually, I was just want to add something to this heartbeat question. That I've heard a story from Ajahn Brahm. By the way, Ajahn Brahm is living in Australia as well, in Perth. So Ajahn Brahm told a story of Ajahn Chah when Ajahn Chah was in stroke, like having a stroke, and then he was like kind of a really with a body but cannot move anymore and stay on the bed for 10 years. And the Thai king sent a nurse to send a few nurses to take care of him. And during one time, the nurse noticed that Ajahn Chah, the heartbeat of Ajahn Chah is it just stopped. And then the nurse just freaked out. And then the monks told the nurse that, don't worry, Ajahn Chah was just in jhana and he was in meditation. Don't worry, it's fine. But the nurse was so worried that it's like, they know Ajahn Chah will finally die, but the nurse just didn't want Ajahn Chah to die during her shift. So they kind of find a compromise way to actually measure the oxygen content of the blood of Ajahn Chah's blood. So although Ajahn Chah was not having any heartbeat, or actually the heartbeat rate was really slow, the blood is actually oxygenated. So that kind of the nurse is did not have to worry about it again. And so this kind of things did happen. And some people can attest that.
Yeah. Actually, there are a lot of such kind of super ordinary stories in the great masters in Thailand also. Many of such stories, but it's not important. It's funny, but not important. When this happens on yourself, then you can report to me. I've enjoyed this. But our practice should be more than this. It's not just to have some super normal experience. This is just a byproduct of meditation, but not the goal of meditation. in Buddhism, we use meditation not simply for the samadhi only, but it's as a tool to help our mindfulness and wisdom to happen, to develop. This is more important. Only when the mind can let go the attachment, then we can achieve the ultimate happiness. Otherwise, samadhi is something conditional, and someday they will depreciate. It's not eternal. Even you can be a Superman for 1 life or 2 lives or several lives, it can never be eternal. And finally, you need to face the suffering again. Only wisdom is more reliable. It is with us until we attain Nibbana. Okay, so concentrate on wisdom. Yeah.
Ajahn, I have one question. For those stream enterer, the first stage of enlightenment, the Sotapanna, would they be aware that they have entered the first stage of enlightenment?
As I read from the book, some can be aware of this, some are not, because some of them are too used to thinking in this way, always doing the reflection on Dhamma. So it's possible that they don't know that they already attained the stream entry. But some know this, just like the Anya Gondanya, the first stream enterer of Buddhism. Yeah, and he attained the Sotapanna in the first sutra, when the Buddha gave the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, and he realized the Sotapanna, right? And he speak out a sentence. It's a Yanginji Samudaya Dhammang Sappantang Nirodha Dhammanti. That means all the conditional dhammas will one day will naturally decomposed. And this sentence happens many times in the Tipitaka for those who realize Sotapanna. So it seems that all these Sotapannas, or most of the Sotapannas, may see this same truth, same reality. Once they realize this reality, then they are Sotapanna. It is so simple. Just all the conditional will depreciate. That's all. If our mind truly understand this reality, I change the fundamental faith of permanence of self, then we are Sotapanna. And from here now we are the noble one. It is the sentence is so simple.
Ajahn, can I just ask another question? Because I also read somewhere that there are 2 types of Sotapanna. One is entering. One is the friction, and another one is entering the path, something like that. I'm not sure about that part. So yeah.
There are 4 paths and 4 fruitions.
Yeah.
So together there are 8 stages for the noble ones, right? So before the fruition is the path. That is the path leading to the fruition. So when someone who attained the Sotapanna path, so it is ensured that before his death, he will attain the Sotapanna fruition.
Oh. Okay. Not quite sure how to go there, so cannot comment any further.
Just focus on the present moment. The path is under our feet, not in front of you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah.
Any more questions? No. Okay, then No question, then we can end the session here.
So before we end, let us all bow together 3 times to the triple gem. Ajali Vandana Abhivandana. Ajali Vandana Abhivandana. Ajali Vandana Abhivandana. Ajali Vandana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming to join us today. And you could stay behind. You have something more to chat with Ajahn. Or I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you, Ella.